I'll share my screen. I hope it's visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let's start with NLP. So welcome all of you to this course. And because most of you have already worked on deep learning, so it would be easier, I guess. Uh, and you have also worked with one assignment, right? So that was some text classification assignment. So you have already worked, you know something about this. So this would be easier for you. And if you look at the syllabus later on, you'll find so many things that are overlapping in this semester that we have covered in deep learning part. And even if you have not taken deep learning, then also because you have studied machine learning, so this would not be very difficult. It would be an easier course, right? Okay, so let's start. So what we are going to do throughout this semester, what we are going to learn in this course is like basic understanding how we humans communicate, and we want to do this via machines. So if I'm speaking some language, so we want machines to do that for us. We want machines to understand what we are saying, okay, and create its own language and communicate with us, with each other, like that. So basically, what we are going to learn is what are the difficulties that machines face, because we have contextual understanding of things while machines do not have. So we have to give some input to the machines, and what are the difficulties, challenges that we face while making them learn what we want to communicate in real life, right? So we are going to have an in-depth, we are going to learn all the algorithms, deep learning algorithms. Like we have already seen machine translation, how it works. We use encoder decoder architecture, we use a sequence to sequence generation via LSTMs. We have seen somewhat part in deep learning also. So these algorithms we are going to study in detail in the subject, right? And also we are going to study the what are the challenges while training these algorithms, while training the machine to learn how to communicate. So there are certain challenges, like in a simple, if you consider a simple numeric data or a maybe categorical simple data, and if you want to classify it, so that is a easier part, because it's having certain features. You are extracting them and just using them for training, and it's giving results. Basically you want to identify whether, a simple example is we have done already, like simple example is we want to identify whether it's a cat image or whether it's a dog image. So it does not require much of the contextual background. It requires only what it knows right now. But while in NLP it requires basic understanding of things like sarcastic sentences, what is the context that person is talking about. So many things that are going on in background as well. So NLP is much more than simple training of models to get the task done. So it is much more than that. It's basically to identify the context of the sentence, to identify the what that sentence is trying to communicate, in which context, in which background. All right. So this is much more than a simple text classification thing. Okay. Then syllabus part, if you see that module 1, so it's divided into 5 modules, and we'll try to cover much portion before this mid-sem, so that after mid-sems, because uh, uh, your schedule gets hectic after this mid-sem, so we'll try to cover up to module 3 till mid-sems. And before, and if you check out the syllabus here of module 1, we have done uh, uh, stemming, tokenization, word representation, embedding. These things are covered in deep learning, but here we are going to definitely get into details of that. And in second module, we have neural networks, recurrent neural networks, vanishing and exploding gradients. Again, that this part is already covered in deep learning, but again we are going to have a review in terms of text. Okay, and then in module 3 we have LSTM GRU. We have already worked on that, and part of speech tagging and BERT and ExcelNet. These are again deep learning models we are going to study. Okay, so and then comes the basic translation and application part, where we are going to apply the knowledge that we have to general application scenarios in real world, like question answering, sequence to sequence modeling, machine translation, attention models we are going to learn, and so many other things. And in module 5 we are getting into much depth of subwords analysis, like so we are going to getting into details in module 5. We'll see how what is the role of subword and why it's required, and so many other things. Simply transformers, generative models. We have some idea about generative models, natural language generation, machine translation. So we are going to get into details of that in module 5. So this is the overall syllabus, and I'll be uploading this on LMS, this PPT as well as syllabus and all the course contents on LMS. So you can check this out over there. Then grading policy. So midterm, end term. Midterm 15 marks, end term 35 marks, lab evaluation 20 marks, quizzes 15, assignment is 5, and instead of project, I'm in this semester we are going to do focus more on competitive programming, so that would be helpful to you in placements as well, if you are doing some coding and something like that. So that would be helpful to you. So this is the grading policy for this semester throughout, and in details I'll talk about lab evaluation part and about quizzes and assignments and competitive programming. So whenever anything related to your marks is there, you will get a notification about that, like if quiz is of 2 marks, 5 marks, and so on. So you will get a notification, and so that there's no confusion about how many marks of are distributed along with this, along with each course component. Okay, and in yes.
Can you explain the comparative programming component?
Yes,
Like
sure.
what is it?
Yes. So in competitive programming, basically, I will suggest you to participate in any competition, and I will suggest you to, if you are definitely taking NLP in the semester, uh, you have to participate in any of the challenges that's going around, like maybe on HackerRank or Kaggle competition or something like that. So that would be helpful to you as well. And so basically, and then you have to submit the report, final report on that, what you have done, what is your methodology and all. So that part I'll be explaining you from second week onwards. So from second week onwards I'm going to discuss this, how you are going to do this. Okay, so in competitive programming you have to participate in a
What is the relation between NLP and competitive programming?
sorry.
Ma'am, what is the relation between NLP and competitive programming?
Yes, you have to participate in a challenge that is, parallel to NLP. I mean, it should not be, it should be related. I'll share a few links of challenges where you can participate. Okay.
No,
So
ma'am, I was
Wait,
asking
area should be
ma'am.
related to NLP.
ma'am, just to clarify, these challenges should be related to NLP and not like
Yes,
those
yes.
typical hacker rank. Also, wait, hacker rank hosts data science challenges. So you're saying if they're
Uh-huh.
related to NLP?
There are specific challenges related to NLP.
Okay, ma'am. So,
I'll
ma'am,
share
I actually,
links, don't worry. I'll give you 5 to 10 links. You can select any one of them. Okay, so that would be okay. Okay.
okay, ma'am. So we can take it as like a project that we can like participate in one sort of competition. Might not be ongoing either because like it could be some past competition as well.
Yes, sure. Hmm.
Okay, ma'am.
And if you are not comfortable in competitive programming, that's okay. You can just make it like a project or something like that. So no need to get into much, you know. no need to get worried about this. Okay. 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 Then we have, okay, so I'm going to discuss this lab component because your labs would be starting from tomorrow itself. So 1 mark for each lab submission and evaluation scheme if you no late submissions would be allowed, and then 0.5 marks are deducted for incomplete or wrong submission, and rest, so it's basically 0-1 strategy. If you are submitting it, then you are getting it 1 mark, otherwise you are not. Suppose we have 8 marks, suppose we have 8 labs throughout the semester, so 8 marks for this. And then instead of assessing the labs throughout the semester, there would be lab assessment 1 before midterm and lab assessment 2 before end term. And in lab assessment 1, it can be viva or a written exam or both. And in viva and written exam, so marks would be divided, and that would be, you'll get a formal notification for this, how much marks for this viva and exam. And in exam, you have to do some, maybe a question is given and you have to code that or something like that. Okay. So 2 assessments are there, intermediate assessments. So instead of evaluation throughout, so it would be like that. Okay, so this is lab part. Then you have, so all the details about this and all the course contents, everything would be available on LMS. So you can, for anything, lecture PPTs, reference material, assignment, quizzes, everything would be on LMS. Okay, so you can register it if you have not. Then these are the reference books. These are the books given in your syllabus. Okay, and I've checked that these books are available online, PDF are available online. I'll share the URLs of these books on LMS itself, so you can access these books. And this second and third book, this one, Siddiqui and Tiwari, this book is good. You can read this, go through it. So I'll share the links. Then course recommendation, I would definitely like you to go through these courses. So this first course is by Professor Ramaseshan. He's in IIT Madras, and NPTEL course is there, full course is there, and he has explained everything in very much detail. If you want to get into details of NLP, so he has explained this course very nicely and in much detail, although there are so many other courses on NLP in NPTEL also. So this course is really good, so I would recommend you to go through it. And second course is from Stanford with Professor this Christopher Manning, and all the lecture videos are available on YouTube. You can check. Approximately 20 lectures are there, and he has explained NLP in terms of deep learning. If you want to get into details of model training and all, so these 2 courses I would recommend for getting into learning for this natural language processing with respect to that deep learning. Okay. And then this is the several notes and books that are available online. You can check this out. Okay, so that was it about the course. Let's start with NLP. Okay, so NLP is nothing, it's just, so what I've already told, that what we are doing with the language in real life, we want to communicate what we want to communicate, we want to write something and so many other things. So related to language, we want this to human task to be done by machines. So ability to process and harness information from a large corpus of text with a very little manual intervention. This means machine should be able to read those texts, to handle those texts, to extract information from that large text, and then to use that information and use this information for generating sentences, for so many other things. So that is basically, we want machines to do what we are doing with the language. So this is NLP. Okay. Then so in this course, basically So what is NLP? So we have understood, like, we want machines to go through this language to work with it. And then why? Because we want to make this process automated. We want machines to do it, not without any manual intervention, definitely. And because so as I've already told, that context is very much important. So if I'm talking about, like, if I'm talking about a simple sentence, okay, come, not go, or uh, not come, go. So these, so difference, there's, so not is basically displays in a single sentence, but it is changing the whole meaning of the sentence. Not is basically a negative word, we know that. So overall context of the language, overall context of the sentence is changed with a simple small displacement in the sentence, right? But we are humans have capability, like, so we are understanding what that person is trying to say. Okay, so in fact, placement of, like, come comma not go, and come not comma go, so if these two are again different, so humans are able to understand that, okay, there is a comma, and then, so these two sentences are different. So we want machines to do that for us. Okay, and how we are going to see in this subject, like how we are how models do that. And we have these days very efficient models which actually are able to understand how humans create a language or communicate with each other. Okay, so we have such models these days, so we are going to study those in this NLP. So what are the basic challenges, issues in getting a machine doing those tasks for us? So first of all is ambiguity. So this I've already told. Okay, so this is a simple example. So many words are, used. There are different meanings of a single word. So one word can be having many different meanings. And which word we are using, so if I'm using some of that word, so humans are able to capture it, because they have some background knowledge of it. So they can capture, okay, so this word was in this context, not in this context. Okay, so that is ambiguity in the language. Simply, and then multiple ways of representations of same scenarios there. Okay, so if there is a simple sentence, like, if I'm doing something, so if second person is talking about that I'm doing something, so he or she will explain it in a different way. And then third person is talking about, because, so there are many variations of a same sentence. Okay, so that language should able to, that model should able to understand that this is one and the same thing. First sentence is the same thing as the second sentence. So there are multiple ways of representing a single sentence. Okay, this is again a problem. Then common sense and contextual representation. Representation means, like, contextual representation is this displacement of commas and so many other things, like, okay, let's say, suppose I'm I'm in a particular, in a particular background or something. So if I'm saying some sentence, so maybe that sentence is related to that particular background. So sentences which are generally okay. Let's suppose there is a universal truth, like, sun rises in the east. So if someone is saying that sun rises in the west, so sentence is correct, but actually its meaning is not correct, right? So this is just common sense, that sun doesn't rises in the west. So these problems are there with the language. So machine doesn't know that sun does not rises in the west. Okay, so these things are there. Then complex representation information. Simply, there are okay, sentences which have, different meanings and so many, like, okay, uh compl okay, so we are using, okay, uh this doesn't work. So doesn't n apostrophe t, n apostrophe t is basically not. Okay, so this is a different representation that a machine does not know. Machine might remove that n apostrophe t, and it will say, okay, this a representation is this word is does not exist in my dictionary, and apostrophe t only does exist, so maybe that can happen. So this is just a simple example. There are other things like, okay, in English, while I'm speaking something English and I'm adding some French word or I'm adding some Hindi word in while speaking, okay, so that is also, so machine is not, so I'm speaking some Hindi word when I'm communicating in English, but the person who knows Hindi, he'll understand. He or she will understand what I'm trying to say, but machine will not. Okay. So many other things are there, like mixing of visual cues. Visual cues means put it over there, put this thing over there. So this thing is, so that person is no, so who the person who is seeing me at the time, he'll know, okay, this is some pen or some book that I'm holding, right? So mixing of visual cues, that person can cross question with that sentence while machine cannot. Okay, so these things are there. Then idioms, metaphors, sarcasm, double negatives. Sarcasm means, okay, like, yeah, right, you are absolutely right. So this is sarcastic sentence, actually I'm saying you are not right. Okay, so this sentence is not understandable by a machine, that okay, uh, he was saying that, okay, yeah, right, that means he was right, actually he was not right. Okay, so these things are not understandable by uh, machine, but this is understandable by human, because we know that it is a sarcasm. Yeah, right, you are saying this correctly. Okay, so by the tone of that sentence, so human can interpret. Okay, similarly idioms and metaphors. So idioms sometimes might use, you have to jump up to a cliff or something like that, so you are not actually jumping up to a cliff or something like that. It's just a idiom. Okay, so machine will not understand this. Okay, so many other issues or challenges are there while we are processing the natural language. Simply, okay, so few of the tasks we already know, like information retrieval, like finding out documents, searching documents on web, information extraction, identifying text from the documents, language generation, description. Language generation means, okay, while we are typing something in chat, so there is prediction for next word, so that is language generation. Then text clustering. Clustering is basically grouping of similar documents. So if I'm typing, I want in the Google that I want particular articles, news articles related to this particular event. So all those documents would be grouped, right? Then text classification. So what kind of emails I'm getting? Suppose, so it will classify, okay, this is spam, it should go to spam folder, and so many other things. Okay. Then machine translation. We know that we are translating English to French, so many other languages, so that's going on. Then grammar checker. So all these are the applications of NLP where NLP is used in real world scenario, and these days it is very much used, and we have tools which generate such really good description, a really good translation of one language to another. Okay, so this is basically just an introduction about NLP. So this is all for today. Uh, so just an introduction about NLP. I hope this is clear. Besides this, okay, so in next week also we are not getting into much detail, because maybe all of you are still, in dilemma, like we have to choose which subject and all. Okay, so from next week, we'll be starting with the unit 1 properly, with covering all the topics about this. Uh, any questions? So you can ask. So just a brief idea about what NLP is. Um, okay, and please do join that group, so that if any communication regarding this is to be done, so that would be communicated on that group. Okay. So any questions?
No, ma'am.
No questions?
No, ma'am.